Hey folks, Jonathan here, back working on our pickup truck. I think it's going to be a busy winter for me, so I figured I'd better get this thing together. We're going to be busy. Thank goodness we're in North Carolina, so we're going to be busy pouring some foundations and setting up some engines and setting up a boiler. Right in it. Yep. So, okay, what I've got here. Pulled the bed off. We got bent exhaust. See, it's hitting. There's the mount, and it's got to be brought over. So we found that it was bent right here, so we can straighten that back out right now and clean the frame up a little bit. We've got our gooseneck ball. I'm sure this is stuck. This is supposed to be I think a flip over where you can pull it out and flip it over and sit it back down in. It's been sitting so long. So these pieces I had to unbolt. These are the safety chain. They got springs on them, so I'll eventually, when I get the bed back on, have to drill up through to line them holes back up. We'll probably go ahead and pressure wash the frame, straighten exhaust, get that done, get the bumper off. We're going to keep the hitch, but the bumper's got to go. Spin up. I have got a brand new set of tires for this that I actually bought for the other truck, but I want to put the other rims on this truck. My 2005 2500 HD, it's got the aluminum rims. I just like the looks of them better. So what I'm planning to do is get them put on them rims and then just swap them and put these over on my other truck because I'm going to sell it anyway. And it's really not going to affect the price much. So here's what we've got. This, which I didn't do, removing it. I picked it up nice and easy, so, but that was where things have been beat up and hit. And then we got this damage here and some scratches and a little bit of one there, but you know what, that's going to stay there. So I'm going to show you the bed that we're working with and what we're going to do. Okay, we've got a rough looking old truck here. This is an old service truck I bought. Now I'll tell you a little story on this. Guy had it for sale, and really clean, nice looking truck at the time. It's been years and years ago, but he had a stroke and he couldn't talk, but he could write a lie like you ain't never seen. He told me that this thing, he bought it new and it had 140,000 miles on it, and the odometer didn't light up, so you really couldn't tell. And he said the heater hose had blown on it, or he wrote it, and I agreed to a price and I bought it for cash. And I was driving down the road, I don't know, a couple days later, I pushed in on the trip button, and believe it or not, got the odometer to light up, and it had 280,000 miles on it, so it had twice as many miles as what he told me. And the heater hose I put on it wasn't the heater hose, it was the heater core. And if you've ever done a heater core in one of these, you're looking at, you know, 2 or 3 day job. So that kind of, yeah, aggravated me. And then the caliper started locking up on it. So I put all new calipers on it. Then the transmission wasn't shifting right. And it wasn't shifting bad. It was just every once in a while it would shift hard. And GM had a recall on it, but it was too late for this one. And but it kept sending the check engine light off. Well, here in North Carolina at that time, I couldn't even get the darn thing inspected. So it was, you know, it was a terrible situation. I was going and getting the papers to be able to drive it, you know, trying to get it fixed, but I was going to have to put a whole transmission in it. So I picked up a transmission, we was going to swap into it, and my son was driving this thing, Jordan, and this has been a lot of years ago because this is back when he was working for me, and the engine just locked up out of nowhere. And I went up there, checked the oil was fine. It just spun a bearing. I guess it was just, it had all it could stand of however it was treated. So I parked this thing in the woods and was going to put an engine transmission in. This had a 4.3, it didn't have a V8, but never did. And the truck just looked really good. But as you can see, the pine trees just kill it. Well, I sold a group of trucks to a friend of mine, and this was in the group, and as a parts truck, because he does a little bit of part salvages and stuff like that. And the other trucks I delivered, This one I hadn't got to yet because of where it was sitting in the woods. And then I got this, you know, Duramax four-wheel drive truck, and then I needed a bed. Well, I put off a little while calling him. I kind of was, you know, dreading doing it. It's something I didn't really want to do. And because, you know, I don't want to step into somebody else's livelihood, you know, him making money. So I called him, I offered him, I said, look, you know, here's the situation. I bought a truck, the bed's beat up on it, and I'm interested in buying this truck back off of you, but I'm not interested in it at the same price you gave me. You know, I want to make sure that you make some money off of it, and which is only right. And he laughed at me and said, if you need the bed off that truck, he said, you go ahead and get it. He said, don't worry about it. You know, you'll get other trucks in. He said, I'm not worried about the money. He said, just go on and do what you need to do. And so, you know, thankfully, he didn't have it lined up and ready for anything or nothing like that. So we're going to get the bed off of it now. The toolboxes was going to come out and stuff anyway. You can see how long them are. That's an old box that I pulled out of an old junk truck. And as a service truck, we just kept tools in it. Now the jack stayed in here, and I had a cover right here. So when you shut the tailgate, you couldn't get to the jack. I had a piece set up for 4-way lug wrenches because I didn't like my workers using electric impacts, because you can't, you know, a lot of times you couldn't judge how tight they were, and I didn't want to take a chance on it, so I wouldn't let them. I made them use 4-ways, that way they could definitely get them tight, lug nuts. And in here, I don't think I've shown this, but so this toolbox has no bottom in it. This was air compressor, 8-horse Briggs electric start, flip switch, fuel tank. That worked good and worked off of the truck battery. And this side, which had a 120 psi 1 horsepower air compressor, which was plenty to put air in tires, you know, plug tires, fix tires, whatever we needed to do. And then we had a roll bar on it just for a light bar. It was basically all that was for. So all this has got to come back out, and then we're going to get this bed off of it. And the bed is actually a lot nicer than what it looks. And the tailgate's perfect. It's in really good shape. I think the bumper is perfect too. Yeah, it's been ate up right there, but it's better than mine. We can price a new rear bumper. I wouldn't mind doing that because I plan on keeping the truck. But yeah, tailgate's really nice. So we're gonna get this on there. I'm going to get started on getting it off. We'll try to get it swapped over today. Okay, folks, cleaned off a little spot there. It's gonna look good. All right, so we've just about got everything out. Boy, the leaves from the pine trees, or the pine needles from the pine trees and cones and bark and everything else in here, man. Well, this thing's been sitting, so we're gonna get this inside cleaned out too. My roll bar here is built onto a frame, which this is bolted to, and then you know, the light bar's on, but air compressor was sitting over there, and then, you know, the cover was over this, so there's no way that they could, you couldn't steal this thing. And if you did, I don't know, it would took you a couple of days to get it out. But so anyway, the reason I'm not leaving anything in here is I've got a sliding camper unit I want to be able to haul, and so far I started pressure washing that company in Kansas, turnover ball, but it looks like B&W, looks like they need to work on their surface prep some. You know, in North Carolina, if it's done this, then you know up north it's going to be worse. If they would have prepped this good and got the paint to stay on decent, it's been a whole lot better. It lasted a lot longer. But anyway, all right, let me keep at it, and what we're going to do next is get this exhaust straightened out. All right, folks, that's what it looks like now.
Where are we going, Dada?
Over here.
To get what?
You gonna wash it for me, Graydon? You gonna spray it for me?
You wanna wash it?
Spray that? Yeah.
Okay, you fire it up. Get that to help you hold it warm.
Dada, help me.
Help me, Dada. Are you ready?
What tip you got on, bro?
It's a water. 15 degrees, be all right. You
I
ready?
help with me.
Alright folks, following day, I think the next video on the truck was going to be finishing it up. I got new flares coming for the back, got the 4x4 stickers for the back side, a new bumper coming. They wasn't that expensive. It was, bumper was $130 free shipping, and both of my bumpers I had was dented. So, and then we've got the new rims and tires we're going to put on it, and I'm going to go ahead and put a new chrome grille and a few other pieces in it. We'll get it cleaned up and we'll do the final video on this thing. And so I'm still only in it for $2,700, not including the parts I bought, the bumper and stuff, and we'll get that figured up and I'll give you a total when we're done here. Alright, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.